Welcome to episode 1 of the Clay Chronicles, where mud meets magic. In this series, we'll embark on a journey through my collection, unraveling the secrets of their creation, the decoration, and the masterful hands that brought them to life. From cups to home decor, we'll explore the mysteries, the skills and techniques, and the talented potters who transformed mud into magic. Today we will be discussing the work of Junior Jeremy Kane. Junior is currently a professor at the University of Alaska. And my name is Paige. I am the potter and creator behind Zephyr Valley Ceramics, and I welcome you to this, the very first episode. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're finally here. It's the first episode of the Clay Chronicles, where mud meets magic. I had a tie at the end, so I decided instead of being the tiebreaker, I would just include both because frankly, I couldn't decide which one I loved more. So thank you for coming here and being here with me on this journey and helping me pick the name of this series. Really, the fundamental piece of this is that when I was doing lives on TikTok on a regular basis, I was getting questions from people in underserved communities who didn't know where to get started or even how to think about pottery in the first place. So it occurred to me it would be a great way for me to introduce you to some potters that I have had the great privilege of knowing and purchasing work from. And I really struggled with how I was going to start. Who was I going to start with? I have a collection that I've been working on for 20 some years, and it was finally, literally just a few nights ago, where I woke up and it dawned on me, well, why don't you just start at the beginning? So today we're going to start with my very first true teacher, my very first true ceramics instructor. Junior Jeremy Kane was a resident at the Archie Bray Foundation in 2004. And while he was there, part of their contract is that they have to teach community classes. And in the summer of 2004, I decided I was going to take my very first beginner's pottery class. And it was hot and it was humid and there were mosquitoes. It was so, like, the mosquitoes were just thick, right? And so myself and several other people were in this class, and we had the opportunity to be taught by one of the truly finest throwers that still I have ever come across. And I'm going to show you. So I bought a piece of his, I think it might have been his exit show from the Bray. And it's actually 3 pieces. It's a set. And so I'm going to show you these pieces one at a time, and then I will include the image that I took so that you could see the piece in whole. I have this set up so that I can show you details, and it's a little bit harder to get an overview of a piece that's quite this size. So let's talk about the first thing that catches your eye. Is this beautiful picture. Okay, now it's porcelain. You can see by this white clay body here on the bottom, it's been sanded smooth, and it's wheel thrown. Do you see those throwing lines? Yep, right there. Okay, so it's wheel thrown, but look at how smooth that exterior surface is. All right, so here's the picture. Here's the cup. What does that remind you of? Right? It's a little bit 1950s kitsch. Bowling. Try to not blow out the image. Okay, so while Junior was at the Bray, he did a whole bunch of work that he called Junior Wear. And that is his, get the camera to focus here. That is his mark. So this is a silver luster and a ceramic decal. Okay, so silver luster, ceramic decal. Silver luster, all of the flames and the junior wear, that's all commercial ceramic decal. And then this plate. Now, the thing about this plate that you'll notice is that it's glazed, right, entirely on its bottom. But the secret is behind this black rubber matting. And I can't remember what Junior told me, but it's like an auto floorboard mat. It's very thick. It's very textured. You can hear that, right? What he did when he fired this was left the surface underneath this unglazed. And he fired it using wadding, where he supported it this way inside the kiln. Okay. So this is porcelain. It's cone 10. It's fired to 2300 Fahrenheit. And I'll be sure to put in the caption here exactly what that temperature is according to Orton cones. It's also fired in reduction. You can't get this red typically in an electric kiln unless you have a very special glaze that's been calculated to an nth degree, right? So this is a red glaze fired in reduction, and then it's post-fired to melt the ceramic decals onto the surface. Okay, so that's the technique here. You can see the thrown lines, you can see the finger marks in here, and you can see that this was a waxed bottom, right? And it was sanded, so there were likely it was sitting on wads, and it got sanded so it'd be nice and smooth. And the same here. This is a glaze on the outside as well as on the inside with the silver luster. Silver luster is a individual firing all unto itself. So likely fired to bisque, glazed, fired to glaze. I don't know. It depends on the temperature of the decal. So the decal and the luster potentially could have been done at the same time, but they also could have been done at different times depending on the temperature of the decal. Okay? And anytime luster is done, you really make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area. And then this guy, yeah, I don't know. It's got some commercial glazed tones to it. So it's possible that this was fired completely separately, but it might have been fired at the same time. So I just want you to have a look at this glaze. Isn't that phenomenal? And that decal work. Yeah, so this, so Junior told me at one point when I was taking the classes from him that it was his goal to work in such a way that people would think that the work was commercially made and not handmade. And that was his goal. And that was the way he threw. So I throw very similarly to that in that the outside of my pots tend to be I tend to throw them very smooth and very tight, which is why I have to go back and put texture back into them later. So I'm going to share some resources with you here with regard to how you can find Junior, what he's up to, and some other of his works. So give me just a second here. There we go. And let's get There we go. All right, so I have several tabs up on my computer that I wanted to share with you. This is Junior here. I think Junior was originally from Kentucky, and he now lives in the Juneau, Alaska area. He is a professor there. And so you'll see those flames. This is very much of that era from him. This is one of my favorites. This Kentucky Fried Chicken plate, that was one he did at the Bray. I had the opportunity to see that piece. Some of his pieces were really complex. Let's jump over here to the Red Lodge Clay Center, and I'll show you some of these pieces up close. Really has been very influential in the way that I personally make pots. You can catch an interview. I'll be sure to include as many of these resources as I can into any description down below. Hey, look at that. There's a platter just like mine. Might even be this platter. No, I think this is a private collection. So this would be another piece that was made probably about the same time as mine was. This one looks a little more red than orange. And this was really like, he got super into the kitschy America, sort of the beer and trucker hat kind of thing while he was at the Bray. So you'll see lots of commercial decals in this work. See there, we've got some more of the Junior wear decal here. And yeah, so this is pretty fun. And you'll start to see that over time, Junior's work changed a little bit. So you can see here, this particular pot still has the flames. And then it's really more of a wood-fired pot. It's a little bit less commercial looking. Here is a picture of Junior. Let's see if we can make this bigger. There we go. So there's Junior. You can see his pots are still very, very clean. And then this is his contact information at the University of Alaska. So that's Junior, and his work has changed a little bit over time. And if you Google him, yes, you will see some of my pots. This is me, this is not Junior. For some reason, I think we got captured on the same blog, which is why my pictures are showing up with some of his pictures. But yes, this is Junior's work. And oh, look at that. This is just a really nice piece, isn't it? So this is pretty typical of Junior's shapes, at least in the time that I knew him. Yeah, so I really think this is a lot of fun. Gives you an idea of one of the ways in which you can make work using the ideas that come from industry and factory made work, right? So this is another piece. You have the flames, you have sort of the American iconology or iconography, and yeah, I think it's really a great introduction on how to use art, ceramics specifically, to have a narrative around something that's important to you. And in this case, Junior was really sort of taking Americana to the nth degree. So he was super influential to me. I had the opportunity to learn multiple skills under his guidance. And post the time I was directly his student, while he was still a resident at the Bray, I had the opportunity to talk to him several times. And he has just a very strong connection to music. Influences can come into your ceramic work. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you have something that you love, that you're interested in, think about ways that you can bring that narrative into the decoration of the work. Also considering the sources and resources that you have available to you. Can you make your own glazes? Do you need to buy commercial glazes? It's, no judgment in either way, though. If you go back and read back into some of the old forums that we had online in the early days, there's certainly a lot of judgment about that. But I think we've broken away from that, and I'm really glad for that. But Junior in his way was sort of mocking the crunchy handmade. If you're a potter, you have to make everything by hand, including your tools and your clay and your glazes. So he was able to take commercial products and almost commercial looking vessels and pull them together in a way to kind of discuss that sort of kitschy Americana piece. So anyway, I am very grateful that you came to join me today. Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave comments and questions. I would love to answer them. Thank you for joining me on episode 1 of the Clay Chronicles, where mud meets magic. Be sure to check out the links I have included in the description to find out more about Junior Jeremy Kane. I'm excited to share this artist's work with you, and I hope that you find it inspiring, educational, and entertaining. Please be sure to leave any questions or thoughts in the comments and check the description in other ways to help me support my work in bringing pottery education to the underserved and clay fans alike.